we head over to the category known as motorcycle audio. Big news in this one, as Diamond Audio has recently announced a brand new source unit specifically engineered and designed for motorcycles. This is a new category for Diamond Audio. Now, no stranger to the motorcycle market. In fact, they've been innovating very, very thoroughly ever since they first stepped foot into this category. But we go now to John Catalano, who is their product development manager. Now, John, what is the official announcement here?
Well, we're really excited to announce that it's shipping. So that's a great thing. It took a long time to develop, and now it's available for the public.
All right, John, very exciting news indeed. Now, there must have been some challenges and hurdles that you had to overcome when it comes to creating a brand new source unit for the motorcycle environment. Why don't you share with us some of these challenges that you were faced with?
Well, as you know, we've been doing motorcycle since it became a category, and we were just going towards this would be the natural progression, right? We did what we could with speakers and amplifiers, and it just made sense that we would eventually do this. But we knew it was going to take a lot of R&D to do it right. We weren't just going to take a car radio and slap a faceplate on it so it fit in a motorcycle. We were going to take it and look at it from what really needs to be done in a motorcycle and start from there.
All right, John. So when you and your team got together to develop this new source unit, what were some of the objectives that you had on the board that you definitely want to check off?
So what we did is we took the motorcycle and we looked at, well, what are the hurdles that we need to look at for the motorcycle audio? So one, space, very limited in space, and two is power. You're lucky if you have 40 amps of current to work with, right? So we wanted to make sure we didn't waste either of those. And how do we maximize the user experience as well?
Well, let's definitely get into some of the features that riders are going to be interested in, because, of course, this is built for the motorcycle rider. So what are some of the key features, John, that this radio presents that would make riders excited?
Well, from a usability standpoint, we had to make sure that it works for a rider. So you can use your gloves, if you have your gloves on, because you don't want to take your eyes off the road for a long time. You want to be able to touch it, and it does what you're asking it to do. We used the fastest processor that was available at the time of development, which right now it is still the fastest processor. So it is lightning fast. It reacts very quickly. You might as well be just touching your phone. Let's say if you're using wireless Android Auto or CarPlay, it's going to react very, very quickly. Also bright. So it's a 1,000 nit screen. So even in the bright sunlight, you're going to be able to see what you're doing and be able to get where you need to go on the display. We added 10 channels, which nobody has done before. We've actually got some patents on this unit. So you have infinite expandability and flexibility. So 4 of the channels are powered, and 6 of those channels are RCA outputs. Those outputs, by the way, either powered or non-powered, are clip-free, meaning you can take the volume all the way to 40, no clipping. So we're going to give you a nice clean base to start with. 5 volts on the RCAs, 25 by 4 at 4 ohms for the powered outputs, or 50 by 4 at 2 ohms. And all those channels are independent of each other. Again, like we said, this was designed for a motorcycle. It's not a car radio, so it doesn't have a subwoofer output control that's crossed over. All the channels can be crossed over full range, band pass, low pass, high pass, whatever you need it to do, whatever slope you need it at.
Now, those are some very interesting and important features that I know riders are going to appreciate. But I have 2 other questions. Let's get a little bit more technical from maybe an installation standpoint. When it comes to integrating and installing this radio, does it have any features like Maestro integration, for example? And more importantly, does it have Sirius XM?
Well, the MSHD14 not only has Maestro compatibility, but it is the first radio ever available with it internal. So again, when we were talking about saving space, we didn't want to have an extra box, an extra wire harness, and a T-harness that takes up that premium space that we have on that motorcycle. So we put it inside of the radio. That gives you a lot of other options as well, because you program it. The programming sequence is much shorter because it already knows what radio it's in. It already knows what the serial number is. It's already inside the radio. And then, of course, it has Sirius XM ready, just a port on the back. If you already have the module, you plug it in. If not, you buy that $40 XV300 plug it in, and then your Sirius XM is active. And you just turn that on in the UI, because if you don't have it, why would you want to keep scrolling by it? So we can turn that on and off so you don't have to look at it if you don't use Sirius XM.
Well, John, no doubt you've been doing a great job just checking off all these amazing features in our short little interview here today. But I want to give you one more opportunity. Are there any extra special features you might want to mention when it comes to this new source unit?
Well, with the advent of having the Maestro included, not only do you get the integration to the bike, but you get the vehicle information. So you have a display with gauges that you can change to whatever you want at the show. You can do 0 to 60 times. You can do oil pressure, voltage, speed. All these are configurable by the end user. We also offer 6 programmable outputs. So when you're programming the Maestro, if you want to control air ride, electronic kickstand, lighting, pretty much anything that you can trigger with a negative trigger, and you can configure that to be done through the UI, through a long press on the handlebar controls, or you can have it just so it does it automatically, like say with ignition off and 2 seconds later the kickstand lowers. These are great features that you can add, and it's already built into the radio. You just got to use your imagination. And then again, if I could circle back to the 10 channels of output, these are all DSP controlled. So you have time delay, 16 band EQ per pair of channels. That means there's 5 EQs for setup that you adjust for any anomalies you might have in the system. Maybe you have a bright tweeter or a mid range with a dip in it. You can go ahead and cue those out, make sure that your frequency response is nice and flat, and then you can lock those out, because once they're set, you don't need to play with those anymore. And then there's a global EQ. So again, a total of now 6 EQs. And that EQ is what I like to call the user EQ. It has your presets, it has your pop, rock, country, whatever you're going to be listening to, so you can change the way your sound is on the fly, but you don't mess around with those back-end setup EQs, crossovers, and settings that only need to be done once.
Well, John, thanks again for coming in today and sharing with us all these amazing features and benefits and unique features, in fact, about this new source unit. So I guess the only question that remains is, when is it available and where can people go to get more information?
Well, like I said earlier, it's shipping now. Really, the big thing is that the pre-orders are already spoken for. We have a few units left. You really got to get in line. They're going out as fast as we can produce them, and we're ramping up a double production run. But we're so enthusiastic about how well received this unit has been so far, and we're looking forward to the new units that are coming down the line as well. If you want to find out more information, you can go to diamondaudio.com or visit us on any of the social media sites as well. We've got plenty of information there.